11 family members, one house, years of journals, and one question people still ask today. Did they believe they were coming back? Because if they did, this story becomes even more settling. Now, before we begin, thank you for being part of Mind-Bending Mysteries. And if you truly enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and turn notifications on so you don't miss future episodes. And if you know someone who would also enjoy these stories too, sharing the video truly helps this channel grow. And honestly, we're just getting started. Welcome to Mind-Bending Mysteries. My name is Tammy, and tonight's story is one of the most disturbing and psychologically fascinating cases I've ever covered. Now, everything you're about to hear is based on documented police findings, police reporting, forensic investigation, and interviews surrounding the real cases that inspired the documentary, often called House of Secrets. Now, some interpretations remain debated. Theories discussed tonight are presented as speculation, not established fact, because tonight, that distinction matters. The story takes place in Delhi, in India, inside an area called Barari. Now, picture this. You live in a busy neighborhood. People leave for work, children ride bicycles, someone is opening their shop, someone else is making breakfast. Life feels ordinary, safe, predictable. And directly beside you, something is quietly changing inside a house. Not for days, not for weeks, but for years. Now, the idea alone unsettles people because most of us believe we would notice if something serious was happening around us. This story asks the difficult question, would we? Now, the family at the center of this case was known as the Bhatia family. And by all public accounts, they looked normal, not hidden, not isolated, not secretive. Neighbors described them as kind, hardworking, organized, respectable, close. They owned a local grocery business, and people knew them, trusted them, and talked to them. Nothing about them stood out, and that detail becomes important later. And the date was July 1st, 2018, and that morning, something small happened. The family shop stayed closed, and that doesn't sound dramatic, but people noticed because routines matter, and according to reports, this wasn't normal. Now, eventually, a relative entered the home, and what they found became one of the most discussed mysteries in recent years. Inside the house, 10 family members were found suspended in a hallway-like area. Their eyes were covered, their hands were restrained, positioned carefully, and nearby, an elderly family member was discovered separately. Now, 11 people, 3 generations, 1 family. Now, hold on, because this is where the story changes. Now, when the news first broke, people immediately started creating explanations. Murder, cult activity, religious ritual, an outsider, someone controlling the family. And honestly, looking at the scene, those ideas probably don't sound unreasonable. Because the scene itself appeared organized, not chaotic, not random, and that detail disturbed investigators. Then investigators found something unexpected. Not hidden rooms, not strange symbols, not secret doors, journals. Pages and pages of handwritten journals. And according to public reporting, these writings appeared to go back years. Now, at first they seemed ordinary, daily observations, personal thoughts, spiritual practices, but then they changed. Instructions, guidance, behavior, rituals, patterns, and eventually, instructions that investigators believed appear eerily connected to the final scene. Now imagine being the investigator reading that. Imagine turning page after page and realizing this may not be explaining what happened. It may be showing how the family slowly got there. That possibility changed the entire direction of the case, because suddenly the question was no longer who did this. The question became, how did this happen? And that brought attention to one family member, Lalit Bhatia. Now, before we begin, I just want to say something important. Grief changes people. And that does not make someone weak, it makes them human. Now, years earlier, the family had experienced loss. And according to public reporting, after his father passed away, Lalit reportedly began believing that he was receiving guidance from him. Now, hold on for a second, because I know what some of you are thinking. People talk to loved ones after loss. People dream about them. People feel signs. People feel comfort. That itself is not unusual, but according to investigators, over time, the guidance reportedly became more structured, more detailed, more influential, and eventually, the journals became central. And this is where psychology becomes really interesting, because there is a concept called shared psychosis, right? Which is very simple. It refers to beliefs becoming shared and reinforced inside close family systems. Now, this is important because people do not wake up one day and suddenly believe impossible things. Usually, belief systems build slowly, quietly, with trust, routine, love, authority, repetition. And that's what makes this story uncomfortable, because by public accounts, the family still worked, talked, smiled, ran a business, functioned. Now, that deeply unsettles people because we want to believe warning signs are obvious. But human beings are more complicated than that. Then another possibility emerged, and honestly, this one may be the detail that stayed with me the most. Some investigators reportedly explored whether certain family members may not have expected to die. And that possibility changes everything. What if they believed this was temporary? A spiritual test, a demonstration of trust, something they believed they would come back from. Now, obviously, nobody can know exactly what every person believed, but if that possibility is true, it changes this story from something frightening to something heartbreaking, because trust can override fear, and human beings are capable of following systems they deeply believe in. Now, naturally, many people reject the official explanation. Some believe there are unanswered questions. Some believe parts of the case still don't feel complete, and honestly, that reaction makes sense. But this is exactly where one of my favorite lines belongs, because mystery without discipline becomes misinformation. This story doesn't need ghosts, it doesn't need cults, and it doesn't need hidden conspiracies. What happened here is already difficult enough to understand, and maybe that's why this case continues haunting people, because unlike haunted houses, this was an ordinary house, ordinary family photos, ordinary conversations, ordinary routines. And behind the front door, something slowly changed, quietly, without anyone outside realizing. Now, before we finish, I just want to ask you something, and be honest. If this happened in your neighborhood, would you have noticed? Or would you have said what everyone else says afterwards? They seem completely normal. Now, I think this is what scares people the most about this case, is not the ending. It's realizing that human beings are incredibly influenced by the people they trust, by routines, by belief, by love, by grief. And sometimes the biggest mysteries are not hidden in forests or abandoned places. Sometimes they happen in ordinary homes, and nobody notices until the story is already over. From my coast to yours, have a wonderful night.